Hey guys, Melican here from MKAU once more, joined again by Staceface Mayhem and newcomer Brutal Leo. Today we're going to have a little bit of a chat about what we like in video games and movies. So first and foremost, since we've never met him before, Brutal Leo, let's talk about yourself.
Hey.
What are you doing?
Hi, I am new to MKAU Gang. This is my first time on the podcast. What do? I review games for PC and PS4. I've done a few reviews on the site already, and I really enjoy being here, and it's good fun. And yeah, I'm really excited to be part of the podcast and join in on the action.
Cool. So have you been playing many games recently? What have you been up to?
Uno? No. I've been playing... I think I most recently reviewed Crash Team Racing, which is, like, by far one of the best remasters I've played. I know a lot of remasters are out there lately these days, but... Oh, hands down. To go from, I think, 99 was the original, and now something like 20 years later, this one, it's just insane. In the best way possible. And yeah, so I've just recently played and reviewed that, so that was exceptional. So
Blast from the past?
Oh, absolutely, but in every better way. Like, talk about modernising an old game and making it current again. It's insane what they've done with it. Much like the Insane trilogy, but even better. They combined, I think, all three versions of Crash Team Racing throughout the years that have been out. And they just put them all into one game and went, here you go, have fun. So yeah, it's just a complete edition, brand new graphics, online, everything just looks really nice and pretty. I think on our review site, you can actually see a comparison from the original to now, and it's arguably, you wouldn't call it the same game.
Cool.
So yeah, I've just recently reviewed that, and here we are.
Cool. All right, well, make sure you jump onto the website to check that one out, mkaugaming.com.
Yep.
Stace, what about yourself? What have you been up to?
I've been actually playing a lot of Switch games the last week. I played a new little indie game called Fairwind, which is like 16-bit art style, which I love. However, it was a platformer, which is not my strong suit, but after pumping a few hours into it, it's actually like a really addictive game. The levels are set out really well. There's like variety, which is hard in platformers, because platformers is such a tried and tested genre. You know, there's not much you can change.
Yeah, it's very much of this is how you play it and that's it sort of thing.
So that was pretty cool. It had a pretty typical generic story of good versus evil, but yeah. So I played that. My review's up on the website too for that. And then I played another pretty well-known game that's only recently come to the Nintendo Switch called Terraria, which is like I don't want to say it's like similar to Minecraft because I hate comparing two games that are similar like that, but it is very similar to Minecraft, but it's 2D, but I actually enjoyed it more than I did with Minecraft, so I don't know, for me it felt more adult.
Minecraft can get very repetitive though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mindless sort of digging.
Yeah.
In my experience, anyway.
Don calls me a hypocrite because I haven't actually played Minecraft a lot. You know, in my whole life, I've only pumped a couple of hours into Minecraft. But I don't know, it just felt more mature. It's very grungy. It had a cool art style. Like, I love art, game art. That's more my thing than the gameplay at times. So, I don't know. It felt like more variety. You know, Minecraft all looks the same cute, bubbly animals, and even the creepers look cute. You know, even though they're blowing your stuff up, they still look adorable.
They're annoying but adorable. Yep.
Yeah, in Terraria there's like floating eyeballs and demons and yeah, I don't know.
I think there's a lot more you can do in Terraria as well, isn't there? There's a lot more to it as opposed to just digging stuff up.
And the environments are all different. You know how Minecraft's the world kind of is all that, like I said, fluffy bunny type world.
Yeah.
Whereas in Terraria you have different, like there's a desert and there's even an environment in the sky and there's the underworld and there's caves and jungles and yeah. So I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
Yeah, opened my eyes up to, it kind of made me appreciate building games a bit more. Yeah, so... Okay. Yeah, that's what I've been playing. What have you been playing?
Well, I have recently been playing a little bit of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which again is a bit of a platformer.
Yep.
It's a little bit different though. Like it kind of took me a little bit to get my head around. So it's sort of, imagine having Super Mario, for example, your standard platformer where you're running around, jumping, that sort of thing. But then it throws in aspects kind of like Mortal Kombat. where you can learn new moves, and like you've got to do different button combinations. Like one of the moves that I learnt was quite literally down and across and then X, and the character would do something special rather than sort of whack them on the head with the sword.
Just a hack and slash, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just one button to win the game sort of thing. Plus it throws in a little bit of magic. You do have to sort of aim your abilities if you are casting spells and that sort of thing as well.
Oh, cool.
So, and it's a really interesting art style. Like it's quite simple, but on the same token, being based in sort of like the 1800s and stuff, it really gives you that sort of sense of everything's really quite old.
Yeah.
But then, anime titties. So
I just laugh at that.
So yeah, main character, supposed to be British, but big anime boobies, and it's very much a.
So it's kind of like a Japanese RPG and a platformer.
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also recently been given access to the Padre, which is an interesting game. It's advertised as a bit of a thriller / horror sort of thing, but enemies are introduced to you in a way that doesn't really feel very threatening, or at least from what I've experienced so far. And it sort of plays a little bit like Last of Us. Okay. Or Life is Strange, sorry.
Yep.
Life is Strange, where...
kind of like a Telltale.
Yeah, it's very much like a Telltale game. So you've got to walk around a particular area and you've got to investigate things. There's a lot of puzzles and it gives you absolutely no direction. And most of the enemies are quite difficult to kill.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So I have died a lot. But, that's not really the sort of game that I would normally play. But well worth a try. If you got a couple of bucks spare, grab it.
Yeah, right.
Or if you get a chance to, get it for nothing or anything, go for it. It's actually... I
was eyeing that off when my reviews went out.
Yeah, it's not a bad little game. Not a bad little game. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at bikinis on your... Anyway, that's going to stay on the podcast. Speaking of which, we have actually decided now, finally, on a name for the podcast. It is no longer the MKAU podcast because, let's face it, we know it's a podcast. You know it's a podcast. It is now the MKAU show. So, welcome to episode 4 of the MKAU show.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably move on and actually discuss the topics that we've sort of decided on. So, first and foremost, I feel that we are going to discuss basically what video games we would like to see made into a movie.
Yeah, we're going for a movie theme.
Yeah, a little bit of a movie theme. We sort of want to mix things up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to start with you. What games would you like to see made into a video game? Why do you think they'd work?
Me?
You?
There's so many games out there that really do have the potential to become good movies. And it's sort of sad that we've gotten to the stage now that whenever we see video games movies being released, or a trailer or a teaser or some sort of run-up being like, this game's coming to cinemas, it's sort of this overwhelming sense of, oh no, rather than excitement. And it's kind of concerning how we got to that point. But if we were to look at games now that haven't had the chance to be a movie, I think there's two off the top of my head that I really, really would love to see become a movie, because I think the first one I'm going to mention, I think, has the potential to be not only a movie, but maybe even a TV show. And I think the second one should definitely be a movie. So the first one I thought of would be The Division.
Okay, yep, I can see
Can we
that.
bash your bubble here and say that E3 have already announced they're making a TV series?
Well, that's perfect then.
On Netflix.
Well, great. Then just
They're
make
going to
a
have
movie.
Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
Then just make a movie, that's fine.
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's going to be in it.
Because I think the first one had potential to, if they do it the way that I think they should do it, as a TV show and as a movie, I think most of us here have played The Division, if not we've heard about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys out there listening and seeing this now have either played or heard about it. For those that haven't, essentially a virus breaks out in the first game in New York City, and it's spread on dollar bills during, I think it's Black Friday, so the Christmas sales.
Yeah, what do they call it? The Green Plague, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just absolutely shuts down New York, shuts down Manhattan, and it's just actually crazy to go and play that game and just be in a snow-covered, abandoned, and completely just...
It was quite revolutionary, hey?
For its time, yeah, because it was real time in the sense of, like, it was modern day. It wasn't like in the dystopic future of 2021. Like, it was... It was now.
It's very realistic, actually. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, and it kind of gave it a real eerie sense of normality and like, oh my god, what if this was to happen, and would this actually be an outcome?
It is quite relatable. Whereas,
Yeah.
you look at
I've never really thought about
you
that.
look at
That's
Resident
why I
Evil,
liked
for
it, probably.
example. You look at Resident Evil,
Yeah.
and okay, that's got a movie already, but that is set. Well, it looks like it's sort of set in a relatively near future, where there's significant amount of technology and stuff, but the stuff they have access to is still sort of what we've got now. Whereas The Division, it's all this is now.
Yeah, it's just modern day technology. No, like, we've developed this random strain with this gun and in this lab that has all these weird scientific advancements, and you're like, oh, okay, that's not really a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I really liked about Division, and that's maybe what drew people to it. I think as a TV show, it would be great because you could even build up to how the Division started and how it was came into effect. And then I think maybe the end of season 1 could be the outbreak, and you go,
Yeah.
oh god, now like
Actually.
what's going to happen? And you go into season 2, and it's the first game.
Yeah.
And then ultimately you can maybe develop into the second game. I don't know.
Yeah.
The movie could be the same thing. The movie could be.
I think it is a movie, actually. It's just a movie. A Netflix original.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, if it is, then I really hope they listen to us, because I'd really like it to be the same sort of concept as that. You sort of have to rush it because it's a movie. Arguably, you get maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes.
And that's where I'm scared, like, that they won't use that idea. They'll use the Division name, but not use the ideas from the game.
Or it'll just be like mid-first game, and you're like, I don't understand what's happening, and there'll be random events that have nothing to do with the Division. Oh, this tennis ball virus, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it's just some random element that's included.
Yeah, if the virus doesn't spread through money on Christmas.
Yeah, it's like someone sneezes and
that
it's,
would upset
it's like
me.
airborne
Yeah.
in a plane or something. Like, they just try and change it and make
Snakes
it too
on a plane.
And that's
Yeah,
the biggest
yeah.
problem with video game movies. They change things that people really endear about the game,
Yeah.
and that's why they don't do it.
Yeah, like they changed what drew us to the game originally.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, no one will watch it because of that. And it's like, well, yeah, we would, because that's
What
why
the fans.
That's why
yeah.
the series is successful.
Yeah.
So I think, like, I'd really like to see a movie based on that. Maybe the slight ending origins of the Division with the first outbreak. And then, if it follows a similar storyline to the first game, then I think that movie would be awesome.
On board. Yeah.
And I think the second one too, which, having just recently been to Sydney Supernova a couple weeks ago, sort of slight confirmation from David Hayter and Paul Eiding, the voice of Snake, and Colonel Campbell, respectively. They kind of hinted at there's possibility that they're doing a Metal Gear Solid movie.
Ooh, that's on my list.
Paul Eiding.
Metal Gear live action.
Yeah, Paul Eiding kind of roughly, without really confirming, said that there was an idea that
Rumors.
he may be presented with dialogue soon, but it was all very, like, just whatever kind of thing. But I really hope they do that because, again, there are so many games in the series that could be made into a movie. And much like we just said, I really hope they don't try and generate a new story
Yep.
and it's just not the same. Like, I think arguably, we'd all agree that the first game would be an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it would be,
hands down.
I think it would be perfect.
Hands down.
If not the first game, then definitely Snake Eater as like an origin story, like the 60s and Big Boss being who he is and becoming a legendary soldier. So yeah, they're my first two that I really hope get to see the light of day, and
Yep.
yeah, I really just want those to be a thing.
Cool. How about yourself, Stace?
I got, as usual, I got a long list. So, I
And now we drink.
found the question actually quite hard because when you break down the question, what I want versus what could easily be made into a movie
Yep.
is actually two different conflicts in itself. So I could say a few things that would be a good movie, but it's not like what I would want as a movie, you know?
Mario Kart the movie.
Mario Kart the movie.
Yahoo!
Princess Peach's Revenge. If you'd asked me a year ago, the first thing I would have said, hands bloody down, would have been The Witcher. And that's coming anyway, so I'm super stoked about that. I don't know. I don't know what it's based off. Some people say, oh, it's based on the books, and other people go, oh, it's based on the first game. I would love it based off the third game because it's my favorite, with an adult series, because then you've got that love triangle of Yennefer and Triss, and there was so many like extra cool characters in that game.
Yep.
What's the flute, like the theatre person? I don't know. Have you guys
I've
played
never
Witcher
played
3?
The Witcher,
I only
so I
played
couldn't tell
the
you.
first one.
Oh, there's so many good characters.
I
Just
didn't want
like
to jump in without playing it.
because it's an RPG, the story is what fuels the game.
Yeah.
But there's so many cool different characters, and like there's a whole band of older Witcher mentors and stuff, and they would just be amazing.
Are you happy with Henry Cavill being the lead?
I wasn't at the start, but the more and more stuff that's coming out, I'm kind of okay with it.
Because there was this thing going around for a while where they, like a lot of fans, photoshopped Henry Cavill as like different gaming characters.
Yeah.
And I think the two that got the most notoriety was one, Geralt from The Witcher,
Yep.
and the other was Snake.
Yeah.
And they're like,
He would
oh,
be
he
good
looks,
Snake.
and it's like, oh, they look so much similar. And then I think even Henry Cavill put up him in like a white wig, being like,
Yeah.
because he got wind of it,
Yeah.
and he was like, oh, this is me in The Witcher, and it just blew up. So
It is crazy because when he first got announced, I was a bit, but then in my mind I went, no, don't do this, because we all did this with Ben Affleck, and I actually really,
yeah,
okay, he wasn't the best Batman, but he was really good as Bruce Wayne, I thought. He was a killer Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to be that judgy person that I used to be, because, it's surprising.
Yep.
But I have seen like shots. He looks amazing in his get-up, but I've seen some like background photos of stuff of the world, and some of that's a bit
Oh, really?
a bit on the B grade side. So we will see. But is that a TV series or a movie?
I think it's Netflix.
It's a series. Hey,
Yeah, I can't remember if it is a series or a
can
movie.
confirm in the background over there.
What?
Is Witcher a TV series or a movie?
It's a series.
Yeah, I think it's a TV.
Yeah,
Series,
I think it's a
okay.
Netflix seasonal series, hopefully.
Yeah, so that's like, if you'd asked me, I haven't even answered the question yet. If you'd asked me a year ago, that's what I would have said. I have a few, I'm a sucker for like just games that I love, so I put Titanfall down. I wouldn't mind seeing Titanfall as a movie.
Okay, yep.
But there's a lot of mech movies out. What's that one that had the guy from Sons of Anarchy?
Oh.
He was in a big mech suit fighting monsters that were coming out of the ocean. It's very that would be
Pacific Rim?
Yeah, Pacific Rim, like,
Oh, I'm thinking
there's already that.
I'm thinking of Tom Cruise Edge of Tomorrow, where he's got the sort of mech suit and he keeps dying.
Oh, yeah.
And he keeps rebooting himself. He's got the mech suit, yeah.
Yeah,
But no,
so there's
yeah,
a lot of
super-
things similar to Titanfall type stuff. So
Yep.
I love that world, so I wouldn't mind seeing that into a movie. It's kind of like, I have put this down on the list, but I think the game was like a movie in itself. So Resident Evil 7, the
Yep.
Biohazard one.
Is that the newest one?
I
Or the
think,
one before?
yeah, the newest original one, like not a remake.
Yep.
That was like scary as shit. Like I watched Lance play that, and Jesus Christ, if that was a movie, I wouldn't watch it, but it would be a good movie
like
for
the
people
Hill-
that like horror.
Was that like the Hillbilly Hick House kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she has like bugs crawling all over
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
like they're coming through the walls,
Yeah.
and they hack his arm off.
I'm currently-
That's like plot spoilers to the game, but
Oh, yeah, we probably should say
Yeah,
that.
probably should have mentioned that before you started
If we're
talking.
mentioning any games you haven't played, then spoiler warning.
spoilers. You might want to put a spoiler warning on the video. I think a lot of scary games do transfer really well into movies. Not all of them are great,
Yep.
but a lot transfer really well into movies. I find when I was doing my research that a lot of Bethesda games, I think would transfer really well into movies. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
I've got to
agree.
like literally just a dot point going, Wolfenstein would be sick as a movie.
Yep.
Skyrim would be sick as a movie.
Yep.
Fallout. If you made
Yeah.
a Fallout movie, that would be sick as a movie. Even Dishonored,
Yeah.
Yeah,
would be
Dishonored's got
an
a very
awesome
good
movie.
storyline, so that could make a movie.
and that's, I suppose, as much as Bethesda has copped it lately from us, particularly.
Sorry, Bethesda, we do for the most part love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do love you. You guys are one of my favorites. It's the story, the stories of what gets people coming back. So
Definitely.
they build really well. So right, Bethesda themselves just have good games that transfer to movies. I can see them all as movies. BioShock.
Oh, Bioshock would
Can you
be
imagine
amazing.
BioShock as a movie?
The first one, Underwater, would be
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, the first two. See, I wasn't a big fan of number 3.
I'd love to see a live-action Big Daddy character. That would look insane
Yeah.
in real life.
Yeah, and that the game has so much atmosphere. As a movie, yeah, it could be quite terrifying.
I think the other game I just thought of then when you were mentioning scary games transitioning into movies. Do you guys ever remember that trilogy series that came out? Oh, it was probably early 2000s called Fear.
Yep.
Yeah, with Alma,
Yeah, that
that would be good.
as a movie would be insane because I think Fear 3 kind of didn't really feel the same because it was like more of a co-op-y kind of game.
Yeah, started losing the plot towards the end. Hey?
2 was awesome because it really... I mean, I think the first one actually was... I think it's the first game I can remember on PC, besides like Command & Conquer and Age of Empires and things like that, that had 2 back-to-back expansions just for the first game. And I'm like, I've never really seen that with a PC game in that time. But I remember Fear 1 and Fear 2, you learn so much about the original in 2. And it takes place at it's sort of like a bi timeline, like it's not like an alternate timeline where this guy's dead or whatever. So Fear,
kind of like
main timeline's there, and then 2 takes place at the same time, kind of like what was the game that came out recently? What was it? It had 2 sequels. Outlast.
Oh, yep.
Outlast. Was very
Runs
similar.
parallel.
Yeah,
almost.
there was a DLC for that called Whistleblower, and that was the same thing. I think in Outlast, again, spoiler, when you play the first one, you're a reporter and you get sent an email that says this asylum's still running, it's all pretty much terrible. And you go in and you're the reporter. In the DLC, you actually play as the guy that sends the email. And it's like an alternate side of what it's like working in the asylum.
Cool. I love games like that.
So Fear would be another awesome one that just hit my memory when you were speaking about scary games.
Scary games do, like, they don't always, like we talked about before we started our podcast, how Alone in the Dark, some of the Resident Evils are a bit, hit and miss. But, Silent Hill's not too bad, though.
No, that was actually pretty good,
Yeah. So, after watching you play Devil May Cry, I think that would transfer well into a movie.
Yeah.
I can't believe they haven't done that.
The cinematics in Devil May Cry were pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, you could watch the cinematics in that alone and almost make a movie out of it.
And the premise is very movie-based, because it's like demons, and he's like a... Kind of like a... What is it? Like an assassin to get demons or something? Like a hitman?
Like a demon hunter sort of thing,
Yeah, like it does transfer well. See, most of mine are like very story-based. Half-Life?
Yep.
Half-Life would be a good movie, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a movie with it's a game with a really strong storyline.
It would have to be a long movie, but because didn't the fans want like, weren't they going to do a movie to wrap up the series because he didn't make a third game?
I think that's like the dying wish is Valve.
Yeah,
it's like the dying wishes that everyone wants a third movie.
Yeah, and they
third game.
Didn't they leak a script or something?
I think so.
To suppress the fans.
But it's similar to what we were saying before with The Division, is that Half-Life isn't unobtainable. It's almost set in a modern day environment.
Yep.
Except there's like a virusy outbreak and things like humanity sort of breaking down and
Combine. Is it Combine?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Carbine.
But yeah, that's in like an obtainable sort of movie to shoot.
It's realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do it in the correct way, then I think that'd be definitely awesome. Who would you have play Freeman though?
Ooh.
Someone who doesn't talk.
Who's the guy from Breaking Bad? He would be
Bryan
awesome.
Cranston.
Yes, he would be awesome as Gordon Freeman.
Yeah, I think he would be the best.
He's the only one I can picture in my mind. Yeah. You know?
Well, I'm really glad you agreed on Brian, because I don't think Aaron Paul would pull it off.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul. But yeah, Bryan Cranston for sure.
Yeah, is that who you were thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first person that went into my head. Like I said, horror movies transfer really well, so Dead Space or Gears of War.
Oh, Gears of War.
Can you imagine Gears of War as a movie?
It'd be very gory.
Definite PG film. No.
Yeah. He put The Rock in there. I can see, him in there.
Oh, for sure, actually.
Yeah, Dead Space would be cool. Even like not seeing his, how you don't see his face the whole time.
Yeah.
In the game, like even in the movie, it can work, I suppose.
Yeah.
And like you said, Metal Gear Solid was one of them. Yeah. A few Telltale's games. I got one really obscure one, like Wolf Among Us was one of my favourite Telltale games. So I could see that as a movie. But yeah.
Fair enough.
Sorry, I've been talking for heaps.
That's right.
That's it, guys. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Got a bit of time to make
Matthew,
up anyway.
Yeah.
Woo. There's only one that sort of immediately springs to mind, and this is something that we did touch on with our E3 wrap-up podcast, and that's Cyberpunk.
Oh, true.
That's just the cinematics in that alone, I feel like, again, from what we briefly got to see in E3.
That's a bit cool, man. We don't even know what the story's like yet.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It looks like it could be a pretty awesome movie. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a wicked game, so I feel like it could be an absolutely incredible movie. There was another one that I thought of, and I cannot think of it right now. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh,
Just because that game
Yes.
is so messed up. There's so much stuff they could do
It'd
with
be like
that.
Sausage Party. Parents
It would
taking
be.
their kids there
Yeah,
expecting
yeah.
it to be good.
It'd
like
be
a kids movie.
I guess, that's probably the
Nope.
best way to look at it, because Sausage Party is just weird. And then Conker's Bad Fur Day just has different aspects from all sorts of things. And I mean, it borrows things from other movies anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it borrows aspects from Saving Private Ryan, it borrows from Alien, it borrows from The Matrix. There's so many different things you could do with it. And it doesn't necessarily have to make sense, because the game doesn't.
I feel like Conker could get away with even breaking the fourth wall like Deadpool does.
Yeah.
Like, you can look at the camera and be like, well, it's about time they gave me a movie. And you're like, oh, awesome. And he's like, yeah, more fun doing. Like, he breaks the, I think, like, giving
That's so
him
good.
a modern day Deadpool cinematic kind of vibe.
It would do
Keeping
well
the game original. Like, I know when they re-released it, I think on Xbox, and it was called Live and Reloaded.
Yeah.
Basically, they redid the graphics and gave him pants. And
slightly
multiplayer.
changed what he said as well.
But the funny thing was with that game is that they took the piss out of themselves, because I think at one point in the original game, his first
You're
weapon,
right.
Yeah.
his first, it's just so emotional.
It's so emotional.
The first weapon I think he had in the 64 version was a frying pan,
Yep.
and there's a gargoyle on a bridge, and in the Live and Reloaded version, you hit him with a frying pan. And in the 64 version, he'd laugh and he'd fall off the bridge, and Conker's like, wow, that was easy, I'll just go on her head. And then in the Live and Reloaded version, when you hit him with a frying pan, he's like, a frying pan? And you're like, I feel like this has worked before. And he just breaks the fourth wall for people who
Yeah.
played the
Yeah.
Oh,
original.
that's amazing.
Goes and gets a bat full of nails and spikes and hits him with it. And then I think some boulder or something comes loose and ends up crushing him, and he goes, oh, didn't see that coming. And then he breaks the fourth wall by talking to the people.
Yep.
Like talking to the camera, but addressing the developers. He goes, hey, developers, if they other changes, just want to let me know. And you're like, oh, this is so awesome. Like, it's
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
because no other Nintendo game at that time had decided to step out of the fourth wall environment. So I
It would do well.
really think you should do it.
Just a little bit of troubleshooting here.
Yeah. Alright.
Apologies for any horrible noises you may have just encountered.
But yeah, I definitely think Conker is absolutely...
Yeah, it'd be like a weird and wonderful movie, kind of like a cross between Sausage Party and Deadpool.
Would you prefer it to be completely CGI, or would you like it to be sort of like live action CGI in the sense of like Jungle Book and Lion King and things like that?
That's a good question.
Or Sonic?
Um,
Would Sonic be live CGI? Sort of like borderline.
it's a little, I don't know. Holy hell, look at the spikes on that.
That's a hard question.
I feel like it'd be, because of all the wacky and weird characters, I feel like it'd be a lot better off being completely CGI.
Yeah.
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 But on the same token, like, it'd be pretty cool to see Conker in the real world. But yeah, it's sort of...
I find if there was real life characters, it would probably not be
Like
great.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of thing? Like
Yeah, see.
interacting with real life people?
No. See, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think because in that particular world there isn't any, I guess, human
I would like
characters
a
as such.
3D rendered character in the world. You know what I mean?
Like they did with Pokemon and that as well.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no, I don't think that'd work. To be completely honest, I don't think that'd work. I think the whole thing would have to
I think
be...
the whole thing about Conker is his attitude is different to like the environment he's in. You know?
Yeah.
Like he's already like a fourth wall in his environment.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that...
Like his world is a cutie, cuddly, world, and he's this
He's just this
badass with
fish,
this attitude.
fish out of water kind of
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. So
But it does very quickly turn to shit.
yeah,
Literally.
Yeah.
well that's true.
It's an old game. If any younger viewers are currently watching this, worth it if you can find it. Good luck.
Yeah.
All right. So that was obviously movies that we want to see made from video games. What, Stace, what video game based movies were you looking forward to that tanked?
I don't have a huge list. We were talking about this as well before the podcast. I generally look forward to video games that are turned into movies, even when they are really crappy. I kind of like them still. Just because you get excited to see something you've played transformed into a movie. So there's not many video game movies I actually hate, but the one that probably stands out, and we'll probably all have this on our list, is how bad the Mario movie was.
Oh, the 93?
The Mario and Luigi. I don't even think Luigi was in the name of the movie, was it? Just the Mario.
No, I think it was just
movie,
called
was
Super Mario Brothers or something
Yeah,
like
Super Mario
that.
Brothers.
Yeah, it was just so bad, and even as a kid, I wasn't naive enough to be like, hey, this is good. Like, I knew it was poo when I was a kid. Like, I knew. I'm like, that is not my Mario.
Yep.
You know, and the moment they said Yoshi was this, like, real looking dragon,
No.
lost it for
Not
me.
a fan.
You're like, okay, thanks, I'm done.
I'm dying over here. We were also talking about, I thought, the Warcraft movie. Nah, I fell asleep in that. Like, I literally fell asleep in the cinema.
That's so bad if you fall asleep in one.
Yeah, I literally fell asleep. I kind of wanted my money back afterwards. I thought it was boring as hell. And alright, I've never been a big World of Warcraft player like Maddie.
So many
And I've
hours.
spoken to people about this that have, like my partner Dom, he loves World of Warcraft. He has like all these books about it. And he's like, well, they didn't pick the best like story to follow. You know, it's so bad because they're trying to introduce the world, and he's like, there's so many different stories, like the Lich King. Like, there's so much other stuff they could have done.
The Leash King.
Leash?
Just a bunch of leashes in his kingdom. Which one?
But yeah, I don't have many on my list. Like, I like Doom. Like, people like ripped out a new one. I like the Doom movie. I don't like that they set it on Mars instead of having like Gates of Hell and stuff opening. But I thought the movie was good. And I even like people online rip it a new butthole for the fact that it went into that first person like sequence. I like that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I generally like movies that are made in, like, I like the Mortal Kombat movies. I like the tackiness of some of them.
Classic.
You know,
nice
the
Mortal Kombat
classics.
movies.
Like, I don't mind the Street Fighter ones. I don't like Dead on Arrival. Dead or Alive. Sorry, DOA.
Oh,
Do you remember
yeah.
that? Back with Holly Valance.
Good old Holly
it?
Valance.
Oh, that was, yep, okay, I remember that
The one
yeah.
for Australian fame in that movie, Holly Valance. That movie was really
It's a
bad.
name I have not heard in quite some time.
Dead or Alive. Yeah, that was bad. But yeah, I don't have many that I was looking forward to that crumbled. They didn't crumble to me. They probably crumbled box office wise, but to me, I don't have any.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. What about yourself, James?
I've got a list that I remember seeing, and some of which I was like, yes, and then some I was like, why? So I think, yeah, definitely agree earlier with Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yep.
Was really hoping it would just be like green tubes and gigantic hammers and shooting fireballs, things like that. I got some weird
Frying turtles.
alternate reality dragon dinosaur thing. I don't even know what that was.
Sorry.
Cheers, thank you. And
Lance really doesn't want to be in the stream.
so yeah, did not like or appreciate the Super Mario Bros. Movie, but again,
Wasted talent, hey.
it was, but again, we also have to take into context the fact that it was 1993, and I think in terms of video game movies up to that point, it was the first, so I think using Mario as maybe the first video game movie, I don't think they should have done.
No.
But at that time,
They were testing
wasn't,
the waters.
yeah, there wasn't really another series that you could sort of transition over to mainstream media at that time other than Super Mario. So they're kind of like, what do we do? Should we try? Should we not? And it kind of gave the rating that it gave.
Experimental.
And I think just in regards to that as well, rather than being the sort of the fantasy world that Super Mario is based in, they've sort of gone to a almost post-apocalyptic, well, maybe not post-apocalyptic, but like a dystopian sort of future sort of thing.
Yeah, it felt very, very Fifth Element in a way. Like the
Yeah,
city was all
yeah.
dirty and grungy, and it just kind of lost you because it was just different.
The only thing it really shared with the game is the names, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then like the plumber color outfits. They had red and green shirts, and the name. So yeah, that was about it. And even Peach wasn't a princess. She was like, I don't know.
There was like Peach in it, wasn't it? It wasn't Daisy.
It was either Daisy or
I think
Peach.
they used Daisy as the love interest. Oh,
It was a long time ago that I watched that anyway, and I've never bothered
So
since.
bad.
Wash my mouth out with that.
I don't want to talk about it.
Mortal Kombat, the 90s sort of nostalgia and like acceptable cringe factor, I want to call it, for the Mortal Kombat movies was awesome. Because it's cringy, but it's not like, oh, turn it off cringy. It's more like oh, it's so corny, but it's awesome.
It is, yeah. You love
Because you
it.
can get away with it. And it's like the 90s Goro where it's clearly animatronic, but you sort of, and like his mouth is like, I'm gonna kill you. And you're like, dude, you can't even move.
And you got the dodgy CGI where the
there's
thing
a
comes
guy-
out of Scorpion's hand.
Yeah. And there's a guy behind like controlling Goro being like, he's not responding.
Yeah.
Things like that I think were kind of corny but appreciative. The two Angelina Jolie Lara Croft movies I thought effing nailed it because they didn't really...
Yeah, I really liked them.
Yeah, I
and they
mean-
got slammed.
And the thing is too is that they didn't like sort of carbon copy the game in the sense of like, oh, here's just the first game and I'm shooting a
Like
T-Rex.
they did in the new ones.
Yeah, like the new one is kind of, when they did the reboot of the game, they're just like, oh, we'll just copy and paste this and see how we go. And it's like, yeah, but I kind of like the over-the-top Angelina Jolie ones because
Yeah.
that's what Tomb Raider was at that point.
She
was like,
nails Lara.
I have two pistols and this whole fucking building blows up and it's like using two pistols. Like it's just the acceptable Hollywood action-y filter where you go,
Michael Bay.
not realistic, but
Yeah.
awesome. So I really like those. The one I didn't like originally, but they redeemed themselves years later, Final Fantasy.
See, I haven't seen that, so I can't comment.
So Final Fantasy, they
So
did
I'm
one
gonna
called
listen
The
in
Spirits Within. Completely, I don't even know what it was trying to prove, what it was trying to do. Essentially, to me, it just felt like a really long Final Fantasy cinematic. Like, it was rendered beautifully, the sound was awesome, visually, it was great. I rate it 5 out of 5. Thank you for reading my review. No, it was.
Read it here.
Yeah. It's on the website. It was, for its time, visually outstanding, but much to the same token that Stace was talking about World of Warcraft, you kind of lost interest and I was on the verge of falling asleep because nothing other than visually captivating, like in terms of graphics. The storylines, I felt kind of dragged. It was like, oh, look at this magic, feather wind tunnel we can create. And you go, yeah, that looks like it took a lot of time, guys.
Yeah, it was
What the hell's
gorgeous.
happening with the
That
rest
is
of
a
the
good
film?
point. Hollywood thinks sometimes that they can slam a movie full of CGI, but if you're not captivated by story,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And this is the thing, like, that The Spirits Within was a beautiful movie. Absolutely gorgeous, especially for the time it was released and
Yeah.
with the technology they were using. But again, kind of like Super Mario, all it really did was share the name.
Yeah, exactly.
It's when you look at the Final Fantasy games and stuff, they've got a really strong storyline. They've got things that are set in stone that exist within that particular world, which this didn't really seem to keep.
Yeah, it didn't.
So whereas the second one, which you're probably going to talk about,
Yep.
that was awesome.
Yeah, the second one was Final Fantasy Advent Children, which was essentially, it was either the story of or a byline story to Final Fantasy VII, and had Cloud and Sephiroth and all the classic locations of character. Visually, and in terms of worldwide appeal, I think that one absolutely nailed it because it was exactly who we wanted to see. It was a story that we know and love, and it just completely complemented that game and that series for that time. If I was to pick one that I'd like to see Final Fantasy do, I think because it was my first one, I would love to see 8. Squall and that whole situation with all the band of rogues, and that was only because it was my first one, and I just found that game so captivating and mesmerizing, and I'm really glad that it's getting a remaster, because I think for a long time they'd lost the original game code or files, so everyone was like, we'll never get a remaster. We are, and it's perfect, but to get a movie for that one would be awesome. What you were saying before too, I kind of hate it. I kind of love Doom for what it was, and then I kind of hate it towards the end, because I really felt like at that point, as a performer, I felt like maybe the studio was investing just for this movie, because I'll mention a movie that I felt like kind of redeemed himself with that. I felt like they were maybe putting too much time and energy into The Rock at that point. To turn him into
That's
like
when
this,
he started to peak, well, not peak, but he was building momentum as an actor.
I felt like if they had not used The Rock as the bad guy in the end and used, like you were saying before, someone from the gates of hell, like one of the demons, one of the devils, that would have been awesome. And if it was to look like The Rock was being the bad guy, only for at the very end him to summon something out of hell and be like, yeah, I'm gonna kill all you guys, yeah, I'm lost control, I've summoned guys from hell. And for that demon to like break him in half, and then for the demon now to be the bad guy, oh man, that would be. And
cool.
then first person shooter trying to fight this demon in a movie, you'd be like, this is awesome, this is Doom. I think that's the only thing I didn't like about Doom was the fact that The Rock was like this half mutant thing at the end, which kind of was like, this isn't Doom.
I could be blinded though, because I have a big thing for The Rock.
Oh. Well, yeah.
And I fell in love with Carl. I think it's Carl Urban. Is it Carl Urban?
I think
Carl
so.
Urban's Reaper. Oh man.
Yeah.
I could just, my head's all fuzzy.
Another one that was sort of the middle zone for me was Max Payne. I absolutely
See, I remember
adore
watching
Max
that movie,
Payne.
but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah, it's kind of,
maybe that's
unfortunately,
why.
it's kind of got that vibe too. Like, thankfully, years later, both Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis, who play Max Payne, and I think she plays Mona Sachs, I can't remember. Years later, they did Ted and Ted 2 together, so it was kind of like, yay, these guys. Yeah, Max Payne, I have a lot of love for Max Payne. I think it was the first game post The Matrix to use and incorporate bullet time. It really sort of is who developed it first kind of thing, because during 99 they were building Max Payne, and of course in 99 we got The Matrix, and they both used similar technology. So it really is like a both sides of the coin. Who do you think made it first? Max Payne, the first game, was so gritty, so raw, so edgy, to use the comic book format. And again, much like we're saying with Conquer and now in modern days with Deadpool, is that towards the end of the game he broke the fourth wall. And he discovered that he was in a game, like in a complete drug overdose episode. Again, you have to kind of play it to get what I'm talking about. For those that have played it will understand. But essentially, towards the end of the game, the bad guy overdoses him on, I think it's called Valkyrie, which is just a street drug. And he starts tripping out, and you keep reliving the same level over and over again. And eventually, the same scenes play out with different dialogue. And he said, weapons hang over my head. Time slows down to show off my cool moves. He goes, he goes, I'm in a video game. Funny as hell, it was the most horrifying thing I could think of. And he's like, he just realizes that everything he's been doing up to that point has been a game.
Yep.
But then shortly after he comes off the drug binge from the overdose of the bad guy, it goes back to just a normal game. And I think that was like, whoa, this character realizes he's like in a game, what? But yeah, the movie kind of told the story of the first one, but yeah, it just kind of got a bit lost towards the end.
Went off and did its own thing.
Yeah, another one that kind of did that, which I was really hoping that they would just incorporate the second game, but they didn't, was Assassin's Creed. Oh, that was so
we did
weird.
talk about that before. I forgot all about that.
It was such a weird.
I didn't like it. Hey,
the trailer made it look like it was like, oh, this is awesome. This is like the first game. This is the second game. This is doing the
with him jumping off buildings.
yeah,
and stuff.
doing the parkour, the leap of faith. The silent assassins in the crowded areas. The whole organization planning. Putting you into the.
It
machine.
just lost the plot towards the end. Hey, like I thought the movie started off okay, and then it just. Boo!
I don't know what happened, but there were rumors on the street, and that, yeah, I know, it's like walking around.
On the street.
Yeah. So
we have street cred.
So, yeah. Just walking down the street, someone's like, I heard a rumor about assassins, eh? Come down the lane, it's $1 to hear. I don't know why he's a 1920s old-timey circus ringleader, but he is. There was word that they were going to put, or either shot it, or they were going to put in the movie the character of Ezio.
I did hear rumors about that.
Yeah, for those that...
I probably got people into the cinema.
Yeah, I mean,
even
for those
the movies, poo.
Yeah, exactly. For those, again, that haven't played Assassin's Creed, why? And second of all, Ezio Auditore is the main character for 2, Brotherhood, and I think Revelations. He had, I think, 3 games. And arguably one of the most popular assassins characters in the Assassin's Creed story. They were going to put him in the game, and the reason they decided not to was they were afraid that he would take attention away from the main
limelight.
character. And I'm like, yes, of course he would, because
that's what we
wanted. So I think that was another one where it was weird. But the thing is, too, is that I think in the game following that, which might have been either... Lance, you'd know. The one that came after the movie, I think, was either Black Flag or Origins. And
Revelations?
Maybe Revelations, but it was definitely... Or it might have even been... No, it wasn't... I definitely know it wasn't 3. It might have been Black Flag, because at one point... you're going through like the chronological advancements of the Animus, which is the machine that...
Brotherhood?
No, because they reference the movie when you go through the logs in the game, and it was kind of cool because they referenced the evolution of the Animus machine, which is what they use to become an assassin and relive the memories, and they show the Animus machine from the movie, and I was like, oh cool, so it's technically canon now?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit weird. But yeah, the ones I definitely did like was, it's recent too, was I loved Rampage.
Yeah.
And I felt like The Rock really redeems himself, video game movie-wise, from Doom with Rampage.
He loves it.
I thought...
Even Jumanji, he loves it.
Yeah, even Jumanji too. Yeah, Rampage was, I think, perfect. They added things to the characters that I felt were needed, because the arcade game was very much like...
It's a very obscure
I'm punching
game.
a building and I'm eating a human. Like, it was very much like, bang, bang, green button equals this, red button equals this, up is jump. It was very much a 3.
And that's why it did well, because it had a very loose concept to turn into.
Yeah.
They could have so many... they could do so many directions with it, because it wasn't tied to the story needs to be like this because this is what the fans like.
Yeah.
They built their own story from it.
I've always been a huge Ralph fan. Ralph is the wolf. So there's George the ape, Ralph the wolf, and Lizzie the lizard. And when Ralph was like the size that he was in the movie, and then he could fly like with his like wings.
Yep.
Well, not like wing dragon wings, but like webbing. I was like, this is insane. But it was perfect because it wasn't that far out of the norm to go, oh, what? But it was so over the top in a good way that you go, oh my god, how do you even attempt?
Yeah, the liberties
to
they
do
took
something
were
with that.
amazing.
But yeah, I really felt he redeemed himself with that. And I think the other recent one that I liked too was Detective Pikachu, because it was the first... That's what I was saying before with Conker, is that it was the first live-action CGI, but the CGI detailing on the Pokemon was insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like they'd just taken the anime and put them in, like, I guess, Roger Rabbit kind of style. It was full rendered fur, hair moving, dirt marks, cut marks into the fur, into the skin. I think at one point you can see Charizard literally has scales on his face, and you could see like the pores in the scale.
Yeah.
Like, it was insanely detailed, but it needed that because of the history that Pokemon has. So that was really awesome.
Natural progression. We've moved on to the next question.
And I think the last one that I'm kind of really praying for, but the internet won, which is perfect, so I really am looking forward to what they do with it, is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, I'm skeptical.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm glad the character's getting a redesign, because that was the first thing I looked at and I went, eh.
Yeah, no, I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog has a couple of cartoons and stuff, which, they're not bad cartoons or anything like that, but I don't know, the movie, I'm very skeptical of the movie, because it's, like, sure, he's a smartass like he is, in the cartoons and to an extent in the games and that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's...
Reshoots aren't a good sign.
No, definitely not.
Look what happened to Suicide Squad. Even though it's not a video game movie, but reshoots
We
generally...
don't speak of Suicide Squad.
Yeah. It's not canon. No. Yeah. So, any games that crumbled for you? Pretty much the stuff that we've said, right?
Pretty much everything we've already discussed.
My bad.
No, that's good. That's good. It means I have to talk less. Thank you. Look, World of Warcraft is probably the biggest one for me. So I got given a couple of tickets by a pretty well-known computer manufacturer to go and see it as a reward for something. I can't remember exactly what it was. But we got a good feed. We got to sit down and watch a movie, so on and so forth. And given that I played so much of Warcraft 3, let alone World of Warcraft,
Yeah.
going into the movie itself and sort of expecting to see the story of Thrall. And it was completely different to everything that I had personally experienced within the games that I played.
Right.
So, yes, of course, it's sort of happening before World of Warcraft becomes a thing. But, like, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, it sort of takes away from those and just pretty much like every other movie that's based on a video game, it just throws its own thing in there.
Yeah.
And almost sort of makes like a parallel universe.
Yeah.
Of, okay, well, this is how the game goes, but this is how this is going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's probably...
Like a cinematic timeline.
So as a Warcraft player, see, I was a
Ex-Warcraft,
non-Warcraft
thank you.
player. Yeah, but I'm a non.
The movie turned him.
I was a non-player, and I didn't like it. So as an actual person that's played Warcraft,
it was really, really disappointing.
Damn.
Like, don't get me wrong, the CGI and stuff in it was pretty awesome. The acting was, okay.
Yeah.
But the story, like, I'd really like to hope that they're not going to make another one.
Damn.
That's a big
You're that hurt by it.
Yeah, well,
Alright.
as we sort of discussed in the very first podcast, like, World of Warcraft is still such a massive game for so many people. And for a movie like that to go and do what it did, it's like, well, why bother?
Would you be happy if they just went back to just doing like the Warcraft series? Like, would you be happy if they just turned around and said we're doing Warcraft 4, or would you prefer them to just stick to World of Warcraft now?
I think I'd prefer them to just go, you know what, no more movies, just keep going with World of Warcraft the way it's going. And hey, maybe drop another actual Warcraft RTS game, because they were pretty awesome. I mean, you did StarCraft, why not Warcraft again?
So you'd be content if they turned around and was like, yeah, we'll continue World of Warcraft, like the expansions and support, but we're also going to do Warcraft 4.
Yeah, I'd love Warcraft 4.
Yep.
I am RTS was the first game I ever sort of played, so Age of Empires, that sort of thing. So
yeah,
that's something that's always sort of stuck with me. I love that style of game, still to this day.
Yep.
And as you guys have both discussed, the Dead or Alive movie, it was aside from
oh, it's great.
Aside from perving at Holly, the movie itself was absolute trash. The Street Fighter game, I remember. Street Fighter movie. I remember. Yeah, Street Fighter game. Street Fighter movie. I remember watching that as a kid and thinking, "Wow, this is pretty awesome." But now I go back and watch it, and it's like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I don't know. I've sort of given up looking forward to movies that are based on video games. To be completely honest, because the majority of the ones that I've watched, I really didn't enjoy.
Let's quickly touch on that for a second. Because that's what I was saying at the beginning, is that how have we got to that point where all of us collectively, not only here on the podcast and the people listening, but people around the world, whenever they put out a trailer or a press release or an image or something where they go, oh, this video game's becoming a movie, why is it that we have this sort of feeling of, instead of, oh yeah, it's being a movie? So to break that down even further, which video game movie kind of upset you the most to the point that you're now by default going, oh, this is being a movie? Oh.
That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like the majority of people that have that sort of
where we went wrong.
Yeah, I have a feeling that most people that feel, that the movies are not really anything to look forward to are doing that because they've sort of...
It stems from the 90s.
Yeah.
Thanks, 90s.
Damn you, 90s.
Great fashion and music, shit movies.
I think most of those people are kind of going, well, these movie makers are just doing their own thing and saying it's based off this game.
Sure.
And I think that's what's ticking a lot of people off.
Yep.
They're saying it's this game, but it's really not. It's something completely different.
Yeah.
That actually has nothing to do with the game besides share the name.
It's not being OG, I think.
Yeah. You've got to stay true.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the video games that get made into movies are extremely popular.
Yeah.
And they're popular for a reason. And then the movie makers go and do their own thing.
Yeah, they do.
Like Alone in the Dark is nothing like the game. Like nothing like. It's literally just the name is all they've taken from the game. Like it is crap. We were talking about this before podcast. Like Lance is gonna go download Alone in the Dark. It is bad. It is nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing like it.
It's pretty.
He's not going to download it.
He's not going to download it
find it
anymore.
on
That's a
something
big-
else. He's going to watch it on Netflix or
Then
like
purchase it on iTunes.
purchase it on iTunes. There we go.
Do you have a movie specifically that you remember going? Oh,
Stream it. He's gonna stream
I'm
it.
really keen for this, and then that was the movie that sort of made you now perceive video game movies to be like, ugh. Like, do you have that turning point movie where you went, oh man, I was really keen?
Probably Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
That was like because for me personally anyway, because like I've watched Street Fighter years and years ago when I was knee high to a grasshopper. Same as the Mortal Kombat movie and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was quite young when I was watching those, which, you know, parents are a little bit liberal then. As opposed to now where it's, oh no, you can't watch that. But, you know, because, yeah, at that age I really enjoyed those movies. I thought they were great, but got a little bit older and, again, aside from having a perv on Holly, the movie itself was a waste, you know. Go back to Home and Away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you, Stace?
I don't know.
Cool. Thanks for joining us.
Sweet answer.
I don't know. Like I said, I generally like it, even when they are tacky. The only one I hate is the Mario one. Like, I generally like when a movie video game does come up on like Netflix or Stan or whatever. I will click on it and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like I'm very shallow and fan servicey. Like fan service stuff gets me every time. Like Death Note, when I watch that, the Bleach live action, when I watch that, like I'm all about things I like being made into movies. So
Fair enough.
there's not really any that really turned, like even the bad ones I'll still go play
Fair enough.
the game still, you know. So this
So-
is why I don't know.
So another thing that seems to tick off a lot of gamers is when they go and make a movie based on, when they go and make a game based on a movie.
Yeah.
The opposite.
It's sort of the
A game
opposite
that
way
came from a
around.
movie.
So most games, in my personal opinion, absolutely tank if they're based off a movie. However, there are a few that stand out in my head.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest for me is probably any of the Star Wars games.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
start talking first because we always start
yeah,
talking.
yeah.
and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't know.
Well, look, we've gone 3, so we're
Yeah.
good. So yeah, for me, the Star Wars games, aside from the 2 most recent Battlefronts, are really, really good games. Like you look at Knights of the Old Republic, the
Yes,
whole
that was on my
series.
list. Yes.
You look at Jedi Academy.
Boy.
You look at Rogue Squadron. You
Oh,
look at
Rogue Squadron was
Rogue
awesome.
Squadron was great.
Yeah.
Even pod racing, man. That was the bomb on 64.
You play anything Star Wars based, and for the most part,
Yep.
it's absolutely awesome. And I feel like for that style of movie, because there is so much background which Disney unfortunately have said is no longer canon. That sucks. Disney, get it real. Because there is so much background to that which, you know, is different to what's actually in the movies.
Yeah.
Oh, you can go off on so many tangents.
Exactly.
Like
It
you said,
is-
Squadrons.
it
There's a
is-
game just on people flying.
Yeah, it is
know?
such an awesome style of game
Pod
that you
racing.
can play. I also really liked Alien vs Predator. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I've got it on Steam. But the ability to play as the alien, the predator, or as a human,
Yeah.
and each had their own things they could do.
Yeah, yeah.
I hated playing as a Marine because all you've got is a gun and a motion sensor.
Yep.
And it is scary as hell. But then you play as the alien and your whole game style changes and you become really stalkerish,
Yeah.
which apparently is nothing new for me. Hello.
Just hissing at everyone.
Yeah, it's so yeah. For me, I'd say they're probably the games that I feel have hit the nail on the head.
Do you know what?
They've taken something from the movies and gone, this is it, and it's like, yep, this is great.
What
I
was
love that you brought up Alien, because that wasn't even on my list, but that Alien Isolation, I didn't play it, but holy shit, I love watching people play it.
Was that the
You
one
know?
where they got like Ridley and
Yeah,
sort of like based on the movie?
I don't know. But
think it's-
you're
I
in a
think
space station and you're creeping around.
Yeah, you're on a
food.
spaceship, and
You
like,
got to avoid the
there's
aliens running around the spaceship.
Oh yeah.
But you can only hide. You can't fight them. You know,
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
robots as well that are running the space station.
and the robots have decided they want you.
I
dead
didn't
as
play it, but I
well.
loved watching people play it, and that's when you
Yeah,
know
I
the
remember
game's, you know, pretty good.
What was that Star Wars game? And it was based on, I think, the second one. It wasn't Rogue Squadron, but it was something like Squad Commander, and you played as like different coloured clone troopers.
Yeah, it could be
Commando,
different- Yeah.
Yeah.
Republic Commando, or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
it. Republic Commando. That was.
See, it's so many different
That was awesome. I love that
arcs you
game.
could go on with Star
Yeah,
Wars.
and Disney
you could be
ruined
a Jedi.
it.
You could be a Sith.
Sorry.
You know. And Disney ruined it. Yeah.
Some PTSD.
Sorry, I had to process that comment.
This is a venting podcast from Matt. And his
Yes.
Disney.
Disney took Star Wars
angst.
and ruined it.
Disney angst.
Yeah, yeah. Well, why don't you follow up, Stace? You got a couple of.
I'll say a few that James and I agreed on. Sweet. GoldenEye. Everyone will say GoldenEye.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
that game gave me so many hours of just fun and rage when I was younger, because my friend was always better than me. Back in the day, I didn't own a console, so I'd go to my friend's house to play.
Yeah.
And because she owned it, she played it every damn day. So she'd always be like, let's split screen and play GoldenEye. And I'd be like, yeah. And every time she would flog me. Yeah, she would flog me every damn time with a stupid golden gun. But it was such a good game.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
It was such a good game.
I think arguably it was like I think it's probably the most popular video game movie
Yeah.
Yeah.
comparatively, like across the board. Like everyone, I think anyone that still has a 64 today, or you go somewhere that has a
Has it.
64, it's like the secondary controller is the GoldenEye game. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that popular.
It's the go-to. Just like how much fun you could have it when you put the cheats in and blow their heads up to massive sizes.
Big head mode.
Yeah, like I can. It's a game where you close your eyes and everyone can picture a level.
Yeah.
You know,
Aztec.
like it might be different. Is that the one with the like green doors? What's the one where you start in the toilet?
Facility.
Yeah, that was my favorite level.
I mean, what? I don't know it.
Yeah, see?
Never played it. What?
Yeah, like the snow one. Oh,
Yeah.
It was just good. It was a good game. We both had the Warriors on our list.
Oh,
I've talked about the Warriors so many times on these podcasts, but it is such a good game.
I love the Warriors so much.
Good game.
I managed to get a jacket made. I've got a Warriors jacket somewhere. It's amazing.
And
what
you
they
know
do.
what the best thing about it? It adds information that's not in the movie.
Yeah,
You know, it gives back like kind of backstories to some of them.
which was cool because exactly right. Like in the movie, they're just established, and the whole movie is like the gang meeting of New York, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're correct. Like halfway through, like I think once you, yeah, it's weird because it sort of starts as the warrior. If I can remember it correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stacey. I
Because
think
you start as the leader, don't you?
you start as Swan, who becomes the leader after the original one. I think gets
Yeah.
like jumped on.
Yeah.
Um,
Gets beaten.
and then I think you have to recruit the members.
Yeah. And you kind of see what they're up to beforehand.
Yeah, and then you can do like side missions, sort of learning where they were beforehand and how they got into the
How they
Warriors.
got into the Warriors, yeah.
I'm getting Saints Row vibes here. I haven't played the
It is
Warriors.
very
so.
GTA Saints Row. Like you can pick
Rockstar
up bottles
did
off the
make it,
ground
yeah.
and throw it at people. And
And then it took place similar to the movie, like it did all the classic movie
Yeah.
scenes, like running away from the baseball
Yeah.
Furies, fighting.
you even get, I think, a bit of backstory in some of those.
Yeah.
The other like factions.
Yeah. And then it sort of gives you a sort of sequel, kind of like not too much, but yeah. I mean, it was just.
It actually makes me want to go get that game. That's when you know a game's good. Like I want to get it and like replay it.
100%.
Yeah. Like, I would love for that to be remastered, but that's a different podcast. Anyway, now I think these might be a bit different to you. This is going to be really out there. I really liked Lego Indiana Jones. I know, I feel bad saying a Lego
What?
game, but Lego Indiana Jones was really good, and this was before all the Lego movies like had like dubbing over, like voice dubbing over. They were still like and
subtitles.
Yeah, and subtitles at the bottom. But it was really cool because I think it was you could get all 3 movies in that package, from what I remember. Yeah,
I think they do that with most of them now.
Yeah.
Since then.
Yeah, like if it's a series, they'll put them all together. Yeah, so it was like, I think it was 3 of the Indiana Jones movies in one game, so it was really cool. I didn't play it. I don't play a lot of games, I watch a lot of games. But I really enjoyed Shadows of Mordor.
Okay.
Lord of the Rings, Shadows of Mordor.
It did look like it was a pretty cool game.
Yeah.
I didn't play it either, but from what I watched,
Games that look too hard, I watch. But yeah.
What's this Tetris? No.
Yeah, so the main character.
There was a Game Boy.
Yeah, the main character has like an elf spirit inside of him that gives him extra powers.
Spooky.
Yeah, it was a really cool game. And you have to spooky.
The whole game is about him getting an exorcism.
Yeah. So and then it gives you a map of all these orcs you need to take out, and it was cool, and it shows the hierarchy of the orc. Like, yeah, it includes the lore into the story, so I thought that was really cool.
Oh, rad.
And my last one, and this is really out there for me because these guys know I don't play horror games, but Lance came over one day and we played Friday the 13th online.
Yes.
And that was really fun. It was actually fun. It was more...
Yes.
Because old school horror movies are tacky.
Yeah.
The game very much emulated that style, like the 90s style. And seeing like the final death kills and stuff were more funny than actually like scary. So I could stomach playing that, and I like was dying to play. What's the villain's name again?
Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, Jason. I couldn't really just want to be Jason in the game.
Yeah.
So that was it was really fun. It didn't last very long as a multiplayer. I think the online died like real quick, which happens generally in most online games. But yeah, it was hard to find in game, but it was good. It was fun.
Yeah, I was really excited when they did that. And I think they even got Kane Hodder. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, it might be a different last name, but he played one of the Jasons in the later movies.
Yeah.
And they got him back into motion cap some of the classic kills.
Yeah.
So and I think one was like the
fun.
sleeping bag one.
Yeah.
And I think, you're quite right in saying that, the whole 80s and 90s Friday the 13th series, it was perfectly recreated in that corny, over-the-top killing kind of way.
Yeah, each character was like with the bomber jacket and like the footy.
Oh no, I gotta get out of this camp. Like it's all like, these California kids like, oh no, man. Yeah. And it's just like, 6'6" Jason
grabs it by a
like,
scrunchy head and slams it into a door. Yeah.
I mean, it's just so over the top, but I think that's what makes horror movies so much fun, is that the clash of elements, like this undead, angry at the world guy, and this California dude that clearly has just come to the summer camp to try and get laid, and it's like, two worlds collide, and I think the game did a perfect recreation of those two elements.
And I don't like scary games, but I was laughing and squealing because you see him like plodding up the road, and you're like, oh my god, trying to put the petrol into the car, and it was just fun. It was good fun.
It's so rad.
And that's what a lot of games miss nowadays,
Yeah.
Just having fun.
That's exactly correct.
So what about yourself?
I got a few here that I remember. I think the best ones that I played is definitely the Warriors, definitely GoldenEye. Friday the 13th was definitely up there. I really, really, really enjoyed the Ghostbusters game that they released a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Excuse me. If they had not just recently confirmed and started shooting a third movie, I was happy with how that game was technically the third movie. They got all the originals back in. And you were like the new Ghostbuster recruit. Yeah. You were like a new Ghostbuster recruit, and it had all the classic elements of the first two movies, plus it was like a new spin on the tale. I think even at one stage it might have even been considered to be a sequel, and the movie studio said no, so they turned it into a game. I don't 100% know if that is correct, but I remember reading something about that.
I think we were discussing it on the last podcast as well.
Yeah.
That the script was supposed to be the movie.
Yeah.
And then they just went, let's make it a game.
Yeah, so that, I think, for me was like, oh, this is awesome. Even though Bill Murray kind of dialed it in that game like all of his lines are just deadpan. Oh no, guess we'll go outside. Yeah. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks for putting effort in.
Clearly you're here for the payday. No worries. Thanks for coming. There was some random games in the 90s I remember playing, like The Mask and Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Wow, that's some
I remember
left wing stuff.
I remember those games, and yeah, the Moonwalker game
Right
was the glitter Michael Jackson kicks are always hilarious. I can still remember that sound to this day. The Batman Returns game on Super Nintendo was awesome because Michael Keaton is my Batman, and like and it's
Michael
like
Keaton's the ball.
yes, like that game was like it was so over the top hard to play, but it was cool. Like just the art style, like grabbing a bin and just like hitting one of those clown guys with it was just rad. But yeah, I definitely. Oh, and Scarface too. Scarface had a very GTA.
I forgot that even had a game.
Yeah, it had Scarface: The World Is Yours, and it had a very. Again, it was like kind of like the Warriors in the sense that
it was
took
very
place,
much.
Yeah, it took place at the end of Scarface.
Yeah.
And instead of Tony Montana being shot in the back and falling in the pool and movie ending, he had like something triggered him that he could hear the guy behind him, and he turns around and shoots him, and he's like, I've got to get out of here, man. And he leaves his mansion, and you don't see him for like 2 years, and he comes back to Miami, and everyone's like, Tony, we thought you died. And he's like, no, man, I've just been in hiding. And it was cool to see that, what would happen if Tony Montana lived.
Yeah.
And it was
ending.
just rad. Like, I really liked it. Another one that was similar to that was the Godfather series. I think the Godfather had 2 games, and that was a similar thing too.
Yep.
But the one I really was surprised about, which wasn't a direct copy of the movie, it was kind of like the post Mel Gibson, pre Tom Hardy, was Mad Max.
Yeah, that got such a good review from people too, that game.
It was just cool. Like, it was a lot of, towards the end, it was a lot of rinse and repeat, which is the kind of like what Assassin's Creed do post storyline. You're like, go here, stand in this tower, the map is revealed, collect this item, stab that guy.
Yep.
Mad Max kind of had that wash and repeat factor towards the end, where it's like, collect this part, put pillar in here, kill that guy. Yep. But it was cool.
Yeah.
And it was brutal, and it was nuts, and it was set in the Mad Max world. None of the iconic characters were really there in terms of like the movies, but I think the awesome part was when you finish the game, spoiler, when you finish the game, you get rewarded the original car from the 80s to drive around in.
The Interceptor.
That's cool.
And I was like, yes! So I was really happy with how they did that one. But yeah, just echoing the ones we spoke about before, like GoldenEye, Alien. And of course, I think the one we definitely have to mention, I think it's going to go down in the history, the halls of history as probably the worst video game movie of all time, E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
So bad they had to bury it.
It's so bad that they buried the game. Like,
so bad that they had to bury it.
We have to put into context the amount of video game movies that we've all agreed upon that we don't like.
I didn't even think of that, holy dooly.
But I don't think any of us would go to our DVD collection, Blu-ray, 4K, whatever you have, pick it up, dig a hole in our backyard and bury that movie. I think we'd be like, let's just not watch it.
Yeah.
But we still carry it around if we moved house. like, oh, I hate this movie. I'll put it in the box.
Didn't people drive out to the desert too to try and dig them up? Because they're
Someone
worth
did.
so
Someone found one.
much. They're worth so much.
That has to be, hands down, the worst video game movie.
Yeah.
Video game ever. Ever.
Fair enough. Alright, well, I think that is it from us. I think we're going to order ourselves a couple of pizzas and have some food. Drop in the comments if you think pineapple belongs on pizza. Also, don't forget to...
I hate it.
Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know what you want us to actually discuss, not, pineapple on pizza and stuff. And hit that little bell icon that's up there somewhere so that, you can
get us to 1,000 subs, guys.
Yes, please. So we can keep doing this for you. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Melican, Staceface Mayhem, and Brutal Leo. You can find us at mkaugaming.com and obviously on YouTube and everything else that we're on as well that I can't remember for now. Alright guys, have a good one. Thanks for stopping in.
Bye.